So thank you very much, Nikki Giovannimp, for being with us today.
My pleasure.
I have just had the joy of reading Quilting the Black-Eyed People.
Thank you.
Love the name.
Okay.
And after reading the book, well, three-quarters of the book, my feeling is that the title comes from not only the poem, but also the diversity with which you compiled that book.
Yes.
Is that part of it, that it is a quilt, or no? Am I wrong, right?
I think that's an excellent question. I do quilting. And
you do
Yeah,
quilting.
but I'm not good. My quilts always end up not as flat as they should be and stuff. But also I'm a Southerner, and the way that Southerners live is essentially a quilt. And when you look at the history, we look at for example, the history of the Underground Railroad. And we know that one of the ways that the slaves were able to, the enslaved, I should say, were able to escape is that they followed the quilts.
Right.
And it was one of those things that you think about for a minute and you think, okay, now we're saying if you hang this quilt out and it's got a bear claw, it teaches you to go this way or go that way. Well, the only way to see that is in the daytime. And so we have, and I think Hollywood has misused it, and I think essentially white America, because what we've said is, oh, these people ran away in the middle of the night. Well, there's no way to read a quilt in the middle of the night. So obviously what the enslaved were doing is running away in the daytime. And now if we consider about how brave you have to be to walk away from something that will be a horrible death for you if you're caught, and to do it in the daytime. Yeah, these are incredible people. I mean, our ancestors were just incredible people. And so all of that sort of came together. But I was also, I don't necessarily laugh at white people, though they are funny. And one of the things that I wanted to point out, because we're going to Mars, it's Quilting the Black-Eyed People, we're going to Mars. And I'm saying, yeah, when you do all of that, when you finally get to Mars, because it's very gettable too.
Yes, I read that one about going to Mars.
What you're going to do is you're going to get there and find out black people are sitting there right there, sitting there having a drink, because black people are everywhere.
That's right.
And wherever anybody is, we get there first. So I just love us for that.
Right.
So that's how it came together.
I love the end of that piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in reading your prose, because that book has both poetry as well as prose.
Yeah.
In reading the prose, I got the feeling of a documentary, like you were documenting history as it passed. You know, you documented conversations, images. So I kept thinking visually, you know, how you write in prose.
Thank you. I'm really glad about that. Well, I read my first book in 1967. And then the second book was 68, and then I've continued to, fortunately, I think, be productive. I'm not overly productive, but I write at a steady rate. And the purity of the form is uninteresting to me. There may have been a time that, in even the 70s, that I would have done a book of poetry and then saved it and then a book of prose and kept them separate. And I don't see any reason for that. First of all, as I said to the youngsters today at the library, and I enjoyed them very much, I'm a lyrical poet, which is what I am. And that doesn't mean that I rhyme by any means, but my work is lyrical. And if my poetry is lyrical, which it is, so is my prose. And so I ought to be able to put them together. You know, you eat a meal, we're omnivores, human beings, and you eat a meal and it has meat and it has vegetables and it has bread and it has grain, you know. And I think the same thing about our books. The books don't have to be in a pure form so that somebody can understand it. The book, it becomes whatever it is that's on the plate, and that's how we deal with it. Yeah.
Okay, so you had salad and meat.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, another thing that struck me was so much of modern poetry, whether it's African American or white or Hispanic, so much of it is personal and emotional. And you still continue to burn with the passion of the 60s and 70s of justice and social commentary, and you continue that tradition, and so many African Americans and others no longer write that way, you know. So,
and I don't want to criticize what other people write. I am a part of a tradition that goes all the way back actually to Phyllis Wheatley, because Miss Wheatley, some people have been upset, but she's going to ask, who sold me and who bought, if you look at the selected poems in religion, And of course, we're here in the Caribbean, and one of the great Caribbean writers is Claude McKay, if we must die. So, and we have many, many others. But the tradition says that we need to speak for our people. And we do that through whatever voice that we have. But it's what I believe. So it's not... It's not an issue with me that, oh my goodness, I need to speak for my people. Any artistic life that has any meaning, and we also find out, because we've had so many frauds, any truth. If you look at, Oprah got caught a couple of times on so-called memoirs that were just lies. But you have to ask yourself, who really cares? I mean, your life is personal and private. It's not your life, it's your thoughts and what you do for the public good. And that's where the truth is going to come from. And I think a lot of young writers buy into they look at TV or whatever they're looking at and they're thinking, oh, I want to be rich, so I'm going to write a book. I don't think you get rich writing books, and so I'm not rich and I write books.